Well, what I'm trying to talk about today is the smaller versions of what I've been doing in those 30 by 40s, but this time it's just a single head and the single, the psychological, mental dealing with these moods, the human drama of them. But the technique is the same as the I had several layers of the color goes on over other layers of the colors, and this is still fluid acrylics. And then the black is the India ink, and the India ink is made from carbon black, the darkest of all the blacks. Sometimes I want a softer black, something like this one, and I wanted this to be more painterly, so the sides are more. It's like a quick brush stroke and just a momentary thing. These other ones these three down here are part of a triptych. In other words, the triptych, usually a triptych was an altarpiece in the Middle Ages that was the two sides equal the center. But in these cases, I had a pack of these, the same boards that the big ones are made out of. And they came in a pack of 6, so I just put 3 at a time up and went into the triptych where it's related with color. There are similar colors like I do when I'm doing those large ones, except that the variations here may be similar but not the same. The important thing is not the same. When you think you have the color just right, and if you do it again, you repeat that color in another painting, you might find out that that color didn't work in one painting, but it worked in the other, and that allows us to see what is that interaction of the color, because in these it's very important, especially on the small ones, that interaction of the color. And when we're talking about the interaction of color, we're talking about not just the hue itself, but the colors around it. And we talked about this before, but it's that effect of that red-orange against that more violety red, that like a carmine there in the center of the head on this one here. So but without that, if I take the green out, all these colors pop out. But by having the green up here, everything is held in its place. It's very important that every color is holding in its place. There's a place for every one of these colors. And here I wanted more like almost a Baroque with more rhythms in it, and I kept adding more and more rhythms to the painting. And but the other thing that I'm doing more of is I've gone back to something that I used to do a lot more of, and that's I bring in the India ink, color India ink, into here and make into the greens, make that darker green there. And I may do that in several spots, and then some violet, so that goes over a blue-green, makes another color. It's the unity of the colors and the coming together of the shapes in a rhythmic order. What's a rhythmic order? It's the rhythm of it's the rhythm of my drawing that's underneath all this. The drawing is a very important part of this process because it's going to set up the rhythmic order. Then within that rhythmic order comes the colors, and comes the black India ink line. And you remember from other talks that the black line is done on top of a pencil drawing, and then I come on top of that. That black line I bring my colors in, and then After I have my colors in there, then I go back with another black line, but having variations inside, the variations of the darks. And so I may use like a darker black here. It's the same indie ink, but just 2 layers. When you get that second layer, see the difference between the two. Up here, I'm using some of my inks, color inks, to go up into here, and it goes over the black and it makes a black, but it's a different kind of black than it is down here. All of them should be related, and they, in a sense, that they have a common color theme, but also that they're talking about this human drama, this human characteristics that are part of doing the human head. These are portraits of states of mind. And if you understand that, it's important that they're all different but related. In this triptych, I use, as a highlighting, it's a soft gold, an antique gold. When I put it over different colors, it takes on that underneath color, so that this isn't this quite the same as that, even though it's the same gold. The important thing about this gold is it has some transparency to it, so that the underneath color can come through. When you get up here, it's less transparent and more pattern. And this one, it's that the head is floating in the black space, but the outside line is very important in defining the shape, but also getting a sense of movement, like what's happening there. So in this case, I have about 3 layers of paint to make up certain spaces, and then at some point I had changed my mind about some colors, and I may have put more black over them. But for the most part, it's an interaction of the colors, creating the mood and creating the psychology of the face. That'd be a way of looking at it. And each one is very different. This is the same gold that I used in the other one, except this one I bleed into the green and set up, and down it bleeds into a violet down there and up into the green. When we look at violet and green and orange are the second triad, and that second triad can be very effective being on the outside of the form of the face, the head. Here I'm using some silver, and I break it up so that it's not in almost a straight line. But again, I want to play with this to play it against what's happening here in these curves. Curves are a very important part of the rhythms in the painting. And the rhythm in the painting makes it so that it brings it more to life. Because life is rhythm, rhythm is life. And when you understand that in portrait, you don't want to make a static portrait. It has to have some life to it.